Gonorrhea situation in Michigan is insane. What the f is going on in Michigan?
C is a 24-year-old woman presenting to the emergency room with nuchal rigidity. Nuchal referring to neck, rigidity meaning stiffness. The back of her neck was stiff. She was wearing sunglasses, and when doctors took them off of her face, she vomited all over the floor because she was so sensitive to light.
Oh,
this
hell no!
photophobia, phobia meaning aversion to photo, Greek for light, combined with nuchal rigidity means something horrible is happening near her brain. 5 days earlier, Casey tried to put on a shirt. Suddenly, her right thumb shot a sharp pain through to her elbow. At first, she thought maybe she just moved funny. She tried to shake it off, but the hurt wouldn't go away. And then her left knee started throbbing. It was getting hard for her to walk. She got a sore throat, and then she couldn't bear to see any light. While telling doctors this, she started getting confused. Her words seemed nonsensical. She kept repeating the words boyfriend, clap, and cheeks.
I'm sorry. Dude, how do you fucking expect me to take that seriously, bro? Come on. She kept repeating the words losing, Marvel Rivals, and Japan. Like, dude, I can't take that seriously.
Older medical staff glazed right over this.
Oh my god. She kept repeating the words sex, clapped, and the word, what is that game that people think I had a fucking sex on stream for? I forgot the name. I forgot the game.
Noting that her thinking was
Outer Wilds.
But the younger resident immediately raised an eyebrow. He tried asking her for more information, but he couldn't get a coherent response. Casey has a fever. Her blood pressure and her heart rate are high. A blood test finds she has leukocytosis. Osis meaning disorder, cyto meaning cell, and leuko meaning white. White blood cell disorder in this case.
White blood cell disorder. Oh, leukocytosis.
She has many more white blood cells than normal. Fever, stiff neck, photophobia. It looks like an infection is happening in her nervous system. Doctors can quickly confirm.
You could have an infection in your nervous system?
The brain and the spinal cord are surrounded by a liquid that cushions and protects it called cerebrospinal fluid, CSF. A needle pierces into her back. CSF flowed out. Doctors collect it, and it's here where they see that it was yellow, hazy, and cloudy. It's not supposed to look like that. In the lab, Casey's CSF was found to have protein and low sugar floating around. These aren't supposed to be in here. Metabolism creates waste, uses proteins and sugars.
Thanks for giving me something to watch during work.
Oh, much love, Dark, for you. Thank you, 13 months.
Whatever's in her CSF is eating, sleeping, reproducing, and making waste. This strongly suggests bacterial meningitis. Itis meaning inflammation of the meninges, a thin layer that covers and protects the brain and the spinal cord. But there's a problem. The point of the meninges is to provide a barrier for the brain from the rest of the body. When it gets inflamed, it's still protecting the brain, so people with meningitis are still lucid. They don't have brain problems. But Casey's confused. She can't speak properly. She can't tell where she is. She's mumbling some boyfriend somewhere is clapping some cheeks, whatever that means.
Dude.
Meaning that she has brain problems. This isn't a normal infection. It's gotten through to her brain.
Wild.
This is meningoencephalitis. Hey, quick question. If you're learning something from this...
I feel like if I had that, you guys wouldn't take it seriously. Oh God. If I started like tweaking out on stream to the point where I'm saying nonsensical stuff, you guys will be like, classic Demi. And then I'm actually fucking losing myself and I'm dying.
And you're not subscribed yet. I'd really appreciate it if you did subscribe and come back to see the video that I post next month too. I make on average 1 video a month every month since 2017.
Damn, consistent king.
I try my best to make each one worth your time. No AI, it's just me and a couple of colleagues to check because I do actually like making videos. And I hope you learn from and enjoy them too. Appreciate you. Meningoencephalitis differs from meningitis in the fact that the brain is inflamed with the meninges. Encephal refers to the brain. For some reason, Casey's meninges could...
I'm so dumb when it comes to medical stuff. I'm so fucking like absolutely shitty. Like if ever anything to do with advice and like it's like the body thingy, I'm so shit.
Couldn't protect her brain from the rest of her body. Whatever is causing the infection has gotten through. It's spilled into her brain. But even worse, 60% of the time, the causative agent of meningoencephalitis can't be identified. CSF is easy to collect, but if testing it doesn't return anything positive, there isn't an easy way to collect.
Oh my God, is that not a lobotomy? Oh, the lobotomy goes through the eye, right? Oh my fucking God.
part of the brain to test, meaning that doctors could be operating completely in the dark. When Casey's CSF was put in a petri dish, no bacteria grew. Viral DNA was tested for, nothing was found. These tests take days. If she has a worsening infection, you don't have days to wait because whatever's in her brain and her meninges are growing and multiplying. Just because the known tests didn't return anything might only mean that her infection is something unknown. Luckily, doctors could still do something. Casey was started on 2 antibiotics, an antiviral medicine and a steroid to limit inflammation. Based on everything that doctors know, at least one of these should at least hold the infection at—
Oh my god. If I was dying and I heard my doctors are picking 1 out of 4, maybe it will work. RNG wise, like, nah, one of these will work, surely.
bay. If the tests aren't returning anything positive, it doesn't mean that there aren't any bacteria or viruses in her nervous system. Rather, it could mean that they aren't looking for the right ones. They can discontinue all other antimicrobial medicines when they figure out what's infecting her. But with everything testing negative, it looks like they're at a dead end, except someone wanted to try something. A few weeks earlier, JW, a 66-year-old woman, presented to the emergency room with stiffness, swelling, and a pain in her right
Christy the Filipino, thank you so much for 5 gifted.
thumb and both ankles. 10 days earlier, she was feeling fine until suddenly, when she was baking cookies for her grandkids, her hands felt like they were on fire. It was a pain that radiated up from her thumbs to her elbows.
See, this is the problem with me. Sometimes I feel something very like a warning thingy, and then I go, probably nothing. Oh, I need to stop doing that. I need to start like, oh my god, I just felt a sharp pain in my fucking chest. Anyway.
At first, she thought she could shake it off. Maybe the hurt
See? Oh, that's so fucking real.
was just in her mind. But as the days went on, the pain only got worse. When she went to see a doctor about this, x-rays were totally normal. Nothing looked wrong. She tried to convince herself everything was fine.
Right.
But nothing was fine. 4 days later, which is 6 days before she presented to the emergency room, the same feeling, burning, in her
When you was going blind and still streaming until started to faint. Okay, but that was one time. Okay, I thought it was fine. I genuinely thought it was gonna go away. Okay, it happened 2 times. Okay, yes, it did happen 2 times. But like, I genuinely thought it would just go away.
thumb started pulsating into her ankles. The hurt would shoot up towards her knees. Her primary care doctor thought that this was arthritis, inflammation of the joints.
Right.
Steroids were given to her. These blunt the immune system, limit inflammation, and should reduce some of the pain that she's experiencing. But they didn't work. And when she went to this hospital, this resident took care of her, but in the process, he found out something horrible. Arthritis.
The the put the bum bum, absolutely completely burnt. I never even knew that was possible to burn the put the bum bum. Had no idea. That's the first time I've ever tasted something so burnt. And if I look at it right now, it's supposed to be this light purple. It's literally dark purple. I have never seen that once in my life before. I've never seen dark purple put the bum bum.
Arthritis in a 66-year-old woman isn't out of the ordinary, but JW's joint pain was sudden onset, rapidly progressive, and completely refractory to treatment. This isn't normal. Regular arthritis isn't this quick, it isn't this severe. Something changed in her body in those few days. Something that happens this quickly is infection. Virus and bacteria can get into the joints, causing swelling, causing pain. But
Did
what
you know
infection? The resident ordered tests.
A Japanese woman, I was like literally ordering stuff. A Japanese woman was like, oh, by the way, Japanese people love drinking this medicine. It's good for the joints. And so I was like, Japanese people always walk a lot, so I'm pretty sure they need like good joints. So I'm gonna trust her on this because I have joints, because I have Ehlers-Danlos, right? And I was like, why not? Let me try it. When I go up the stairs now, it no longer cracks like my knees. Usually when I go up the stairs, I would hear like, no, I shit you not, it doesn't do that anymore. What the fuck? No, I'm dead ass serious. So I read more of the medicine, right? I cannot believe I was taking medicine without reading it beforehand. I'm so sorry. I just trusted that woman like with my fucking life. I don't fucking know why. Anyway, now I researched more about it, and it isn't just like a whatever medicine is actually like an OTC type C medicine or whatever. Like it was actually genuinely a real fucking medicine. I was like, oh, what the fuck? You can just buy it though. You don't need a prescription. No, dude, I'm serious. I'm gonna do a squat right now, and I won't hear a crack. I shit you not. It's insane. Hold on, let me look. Okay, wait, that was my hip. Sorry, that crack was my hip, not my knees. Okay, wait, let me try it again. That was my hip, not my knees. Whatever. Okay, let me do it again. Yeah, not a crack. Usually when I'm doing like squat. I'm sorry, excuse me. Ew. No, I'm serious, dude. Ever since I've been taking this meds, it's intense though. It's intense. Guys, it's 3 times a day, 2 pills at the time. So it's 2, 2, 2. So it's 6 fucking meds in a day. And it's quite overwhelming to take. But like, it works, man. My puta bum almost fucking fell and now there's butter in my fucking arm.
Hepatitis is a virus that damages the liver, but it can cause arthritis. Negative. Lyme disease is an infection from a spiral-shaped bacteria named Borrelia burgdorferi, transmitted by tick bite.
It's so burnt.
That can also do it too. Also,
are you gonna tell us the medicine or not? I feel so uncomfortable telling you guys a medicine for my fucking joints, actually. Because like some random girl just like told me about it and I just used it, bro. Oh, whatever, sure, okay. I'm gonna, I have to go to the other fucking room. It's this Chondroitin ZS tablet. This is literally it. This is literally what she gave me, and she gave me 2 bottles. So I'm gonna give one to my mom because it's working really well. I do plan on repurchasing this because my joints doesn't feel so bad. I think it has uranium and fuck you. But yeah, no, it works well. Like my knees doesn't hurt. Apparently this is what it does. Let me show it to you. Oh, I feel like a fucking seller, bro. This makes me feel so uncomfortable. I'm not even being paid to like say this shit. At least let me be paid. Chondroitin ZS is a popular Japanese medicine, over-the-counter, manufactured in Zaria, primarily used for joint pain, lower back pain, and nerve deafness. I have that. It's classified as a class 3 OTC medicine in Japan and contains highly concentrated pharmaceutical-grade dose of chondroitin sulfate. Do your own research. I'm gonna pitch my company to start making the medicine in USA. Great.
So negative. All other known bacteria, negative. Except, at the bottom of his list was one final bacteria. There were 2 reasons why he didn't order tests for it. First, this kind of infection transmits human to human by physical contact. It's not severe when treated early. It almost never spreads throughout the body, but it can infect the joints when it does. Second, from a social convention standpoint, the resident felt awkward asking about this particular infection because the physical contact required for this infection can be daunting for a young medical trainee to inquire about. And a 66-year-old grandmother with an established
$100 in the US.
Wow, it did not cost that much for me in Japan because I got it in a 20% discount plus tax-free.
Social history of being in a thought-to-be monogamous marriage. This bacteria is the one responsible for gonorrhea. Gonorrhea is from intimate human contact involving the bacteria Neisseria gonorrhoeae. Typically, infection and most of its symptoms are at the site of contact. There's a few different sites, but sometimes the infection becomes disseminated. The bacteria escapes the inoculation site and infects the person systemically. It gets into the joints and forces extreme inflammation. Steroids won't help because physically there's something growing on the bones. This is what was happening to JW. Her gonorrhea was confirmed by lab test, and recent intimate contact was discussed and confirmed. But in very rare cases, Neisseria gonorrhoeae gets into the brain and the meninges, bringing us back to case C. The resident remembered JW's case from just a few weeks earlier because KC had also described—
I have a question. Where did this thingy originate from? I heard that like there's some sexual transmitted stuff that came from animals first, and then because people were fucking animals, they fucked people, and then that's how it started to spread. Is that true?
A sudden onset intense joint pain while she was still lucid. If gonorrhea is a communicable disease that's
I'm dead serious. There's some that actually originated from that.
In the area recently because another patient just came in with it, and Casey's meningoencephalitis could be caused by it while she's tested negative for everything else but this, then is it possible that gonorrhea is in her brain? The remaining CSF was tested different from what was already done, and it turns out Neisseria gonorrhoeae is in her brain. It's in her meninges. It's inflaming her nervous system and her joints. Gonorrhea has spread.
I feel like the stories are kind of scary because this requires a doctor that's competent, and not all doctors are competent. And the fact that this was the last test that was even possible to do, like, I feel like the doctors here would just skip it and be like, nah, it's not possible. And that scares me.
Everywhere in her body. Casey has gonococcal meningoencephalitis. In a brief moment of clarity after the 4 medicines were started, Casey told doctors what she meant when she said the words boyfriend and clap. 1 month earlier, Casey's boyfriend had contracted chlamydia from an
he was cheating!
encounter outside of their relationship. He told Casey about this because they had intimate contact after he got that infection and before he was diagnosed. And when he got diagnosed, he did the right thing and told her. Casey received partner treatment with
cheaters, man.
Sometime after receiving this,
This guy. It was the right thing to do to tell her. But not only did you fucking cheat, but now you gave her a fucking thing that literally is affecting her health and ruining her life? Are you fucking serious?
Antibiotic, which was around 7 to 10 days before she presented to the emergency room. Casey had intimate contact
this poor girl, bro.
with this boyfriend again, but by then, this boyfriend had contracted gonorrhea from yet another encounter outside of their relationship. This tells us how she
Oh my god, bro. This is why I truly believe I personally would never date a cheater.
got it and who she got it from, but it doesn't explain why Casey and JW's gonorrhea spread throughout their bodies. But public health officials would learn something about this gonorrhea that they didn't know before. When doctors found Casey's disseminated gonococcal infection, they reported her case to the Michigan Disease Surveillance System. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services took note because this was part of an ongoing problem in this region. 2 years earlier, in 2019, Kalamazoo County Health and Community Services Department was notified of 3 patients hospitalized for
Oh my god, 3 already, Jesus.
disseminated gonococcal infection. 2 had septic arthritis. Another had gonorrhea growing in their heart. Neisseria gonorrhoeae doesn't spread further than the site of infection typically, but 3 disseminated cases happening at once in the same area means that a new strain with the ability to spread around the body is in active circulation. Kalamazoo County Health
That's so scary. Fuck me. Jesus.
and Community Services Department and Michigan Department of Health and Human Services opened an investigation. When they looked at the reports, they found 27,000 cases of gonorrhea had been reported in Michigan in the 18 months prior. Zooming in, they found that in the 4 months prior to August 2019, 16 cases of disseminated gonococcal infection had been reported in Southwest Michigan,
What's going on in Michigan, bro? Guys, anybody from fucking Michigan?
the same city. When they contacted these patients, they asked if any of these 16 patients had had contact with one another. They might have, but they didn't know or name each other specifically. No social connections were found among any of them. But genome sequencing of the Neisseria gonorrhoeae told another story. In the lab, they tested samples from 11 of the patients and found that the Neisseria gonorrhoeae bacteria were all identical. Just a handful of changes were observed
Damn, people really fuck around. Wow.
throughout the entire bacterial genome coming from each patient. It's unclear how these patients didn't know each other, or if they did have contact with one another, they may not have been aware of the exact other individual during the contact in whatever capacity. One possibility is that several more people were infected with this strain, but they didn't get disseminated infection, or if they did get infected, maybe they didn't seek care, so it wasn't reported. Women sometimes don't show symptoms of gonococcal infection, so they don't even know if they have it if disseminated infection doesn't emerge. But what is known is that Casey and JW's case appearing 2 years after this infection cluster was described means that this particular Neisseria gonorrhoeae
Ew. Fucking hairy balls. What is this?
strain was still circulating in the area. CDC was contacted for help and more information was discovered. When gonorrhea is diagnosed, it has to be reported to public health agencies. We know 600,000 gonorrhea cases were reported in the United States in 2023. We know it's been increasing since 2009, just like other similarly
I'm so I don't know how to say this in a nice way, but I just am very one partner for life kind of person. So I actually have I'm very like stupid when it comes to STDs, whatever, it's like sexual transmitted stuff. Don't know anything about that. I actually am really clueless about that shit. Bro, I'm actually so ignorant when it comes to that kind of topic.
Transmitted infections.
Like, I'm hearing chlamydia. I recognize the name, but I have actually no idea what chlamydia is. And then I see the word syphilis. I know what syphilis is. Don't actually know what it is.
But public health agencies have also been documenting the new strains that keep emerging. Everything shows that Neisseria gonorrhoeae is evolving in dangerous ways. In the 1930s, scientists were researching chemicals that could serve as antibiotics.
It's weird that it's normalized you're good. It's the problem of people not being honest, though. If I was sexually active, right? If I was like fucking around, like and stuff like that, single, fucking around or something like that, and that's my personality. The problem is with the other people not being honest. That's literally it. If you have an STD, a normal fucking person will just be like, well, time to stop having sex for a while and let all my previous partner know about it. That's the most literal, normal fucking reaction. And if you literally take that as a secret, you are one of those people that would hide a bite during a fucking zombie apocalypse. Like, genuinely. You don't give a fuck.
They paid close attention to a color dye that was patented in the early 1900s and found that it was able to destroy certain bacterial species, one of which was Neisseria gonorrhoeae. This medicine was called sulfanilamide. And it worked. Patients with gonorrhea successfully treated their infection with the medicine, but over a few years, doctors started noticing that the infection would persist after ever-increasing doses of sulfanilamide.
Would you fuck Leon if he has an STI? If Leon was a real-life person, I would not bat an eye on him. That's the thing. The only reason why I do bat an eye on him is because he's not real. And I like that a lot, actually. Okay?
Neisseria gonorrhoeae makes vitamin B9, folic acid, to produce DNA so that it can reproduce. The bacteria makes a chemical called para-aminobenzoic acid, PABA, to tell its machinery, hey, it's time to reproduce, so I need some folic acid. Sulfanilamide looks like PABA. When sulfanilamide gets into the bacteria, it screws up the machinery so that folic acid isn't made. Then DNA isn't made, and Neisseria gonorrhoeae doesn't reproduce. The problem is, Neisseria gonorrhoeae started noticing that something was getting in the way of its folic acid production. In response, it started making insane amounts of PABA to drown out sulfanilamide, rendering it useless. And then it started producing new strains who would do this by default, meaning Neisseria gonorrhoeae successfully evolved sulfanilamide antibiotic resistant. No
genuine question, but why is there a line here when it comes to men balls?
Antibiotic resistant. No safe amount of that medicine would ever work again to treat this infection in humans. But this was perfect timing. This happened in the 1940s and penicillin had just started to become mass produced. If sulfanilamide doesn't work anymore,
it was stitched up. That is not. There's no. Shut up. Somebody actually give me a real fucking answer. That's when where the non-vagina closed up. Right. I think I did learn that during high school, I think. Yes, I do remember that now.
More for gonorrhea, that's no problem. Let's use penicillin. And this worked really well.
We get our balls stitched together. Shut the fuck up.
A dose of 50,000 units was extremely effective, but as the years went on, gonorrhea patients required 200,000 units to clear the infection. 30 years later,
200,000.
By 1972, the known regular dose was 4.8 million units. And in 1976, something horrible was discovered. A 25-year-old man at an Air Force base in California had just returned from the Philippines. He complained of dysuria, trouble urinating, and a funny-looking painful discharge that would emerge from between his legs. Urethral smears revealed Neisseria gonorrhoeae. 4.8 million units of penicillin were administered to him, but a week later, his problems got worse. Doctors tried a different antibiotic, but it didn't work either. 2 weeks later, infection still raging. Doctors
get it. All links back to Demi. Shut the fuck up.
Tried 4.8 million units of penicillin again, and it still didn't work. Repeat urethral swabs revealed Neisseria gonorrhoeae was still there. When they finally gave him a different antibiotic of last resort, his infection was cured. But why didn't penicillin work? Gonococcal samples that were collected from this man were sent to CDC. They tried some tests. No results returned anything insightful, but scientists had an idea. penicillin chemical has
You know what I'm scared of? I'm scared of because I'm so sick constantly. My body is becoming used to these like what is it called? The tolerance towards like if you always take like painkillers, your body will get used to it. Tolerant, and then so now you need to like have more painkillers in the future. That thingy, I'm so scared of that. I'm dead. So fucking scared of that. That's the reason why I try my best. If I can take the pain, I just take the pain.
Unique structure. This is called a beta-lactam ring. This is the part that destroys bacteria. Scientists attach...
If I can take the pain, I'll just take the pain. OTC painkillers are weak as fuck, so don't worry. Yo, sometimes I've had multiple surgeries. I've had surgeries because I cracked my skull open, because I hit my head on a metal frame of the bed when I was younger. So I needed stitches for that. Oh, it was right here. Top of my head. And then I hit my forehead here, which caused needing to stitch as well. When I was young, I ran. I had 2 surgeries in my knees. I've had a lot. I had like stomach. I had to go under. I went under, and this like. For some people will never have to be under anesthesia, whatever the hell you say it, in their lives. I went under like maybe 5 times. So like I'm only 26, and I've went under that many times because I needed surgery over and over again. For like I'm just a very sickly person. It is what it is. So like imagine the future when I'm like 50. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna need like for one painkiller to like actually like hit. I need multiple, bro. Bro, I'm fucked.
Other chemicals to a beta-lactam ring. If bacteria does something to it, the attached chemicals will force... oh my god, whenever I need something done, and then they ask me if I have any metals in my body, I actually don't remember. I don't remember shit, dude. I don't remember if they put metal in my fucking knees. I can't remember for shit. A color change, and we can see this, and we'll know that something has happened.
The doctor, when he sees Demi's medical history... It sucks! It sucks! When the doctor goes like, so, have you had previous surgeries back in the day? Yes. 2020, 2021, 2022, and I also had one in 2004. Dude, it's like so f***ed.
And when they poured this into a sample containing Neisseria gonorrhoeae, grown from this man, the color changed, meaning this man's bacteria was doing...
I'm pretty sure whenever I'm in the doctors, they're just like, oh... This girl, complicated. They probably make a like case study of me. Did you know? Oh my god! Wait, no. My doctor, my brother who's a doctor, he had classmates like literally like oh yeah. When he explained my stuff, he was like, oh my god, that's like a case study. They literally compared me to a case study.
Something that it had never been seen to do before. We used penicillin to treat gonorrhea from the 1940s
Thank God I'm a streamer, f*** me.
to the 1970s. It worked, but Neisseria gonorrhoeae bacteria had been slowly learning how to resist and survive penicillin. That's why the dose needed to clear infection increased from 50,000 units to 4.8 million. But in 1976, the bacteria finally refined its evolution and gained a new ability. In the scientist's test, cleavage of the beta-lactam ring forced a color change. This told doctors that the bacteria collected from this man's gonorrhea evolved the ability to destroy penicillin in a way like never before. Specifically, it developed the ability to create an enzyme that breaks the beta-lactam ring that enables penicillin to kill bacteria, completely disabling the antibiotic. And in just a few years after this was first observed, almost all known gonorrhea cases were totally resistant to penicillin. It would never be used again.
The problem is that I have a connective tissue disorder. There's nothing I can do about that. When things break, it doesn't repair. So I just like, my skin rips a lot easier. I get bruises super, like if you grab my arm and it's like a little bit tight, I'll get a bruise. I bruise easily. I can rip my skin very easily as well if I just like pull it really that hard. I'm very like sensitive. I'm really sensitive.
But it wasn't finished here. Another antibiotic.
So that's the reason why when I started getting that like Japanese medicine and my knees didn't crack anymore, I was genuinely surprised.
Called a tetracycline was being used for gonorrhea since the 1950s. Slowly, as the decades passed, scientists were observing that Neisseria gonorrhoeae had evolved an ability to change its protein shapes so that it removes tetracycline, rendering it completely useless by 1986. Even worse, scientists found that the bacteria could transfer that mutated gene to strains that didn't have the gene. A class of antibiotics known as fluoroquinolones were used for gonorrhea starting in the mid-1980s. These can be pretty strong medicines with side effects sometimes not seen with other antibiotics, but not even 10 years in, the dose needed to treat gonorrhea doubled. Because our technology had advanced in the 1990s, we started observing that Neisseria gonorrhoeae is able to take DNA from its surroundings and incorporate those genes.
This is so fucking scary.
Into its own genome. And by the 2000s, enough genes were picked up by all gonorrhea strains to confer resistance to fluoroquinolones. We still had options at this point. Azithromycin, the antibiotic known as Z-Pak, when one gets a cough or a sore throat. It was effective for gonococcal infections in the 1990s.
What? That's so random!
But then, when the dose required to treat infection dramatically increased, scientists started noticing Neisseria gonorrhoeae had developed a mutation where it could actively spit out azithromycin from its insides so that the antibiotic couldn't contact any intracellular machinery. And Neisseria gonorrhoeae had evolved a backup plan because that cellular machinery azithromycin would have broken had been mutated to resist the antibiotic, leaving us currently with just one final antibiotic to treat gonorrhea. But these mutations are just for antibiotic resistance. Other mutations can enable the bacteria to do unimaginable things, bringing us back to KC and JW's case. CDC had been collecting and cataloging Neisseria gonorrhoeae strains for decades. When they analyzed the bacterial genomes from the 2019 Michigan disseminated gonococcal infection cluster, they found out it was descended from an earlier known strain that only caused symptoms at the site of infection. When they looked closer, they found that of all the gonorrhea strains circulating at that time, this particular strain formed two distinct groups of descendants. One group featured random mutations, nothing important.
Demi, I just locked in to the video, sorry.
But the other had one particular gene mutation called the PORB1A gene. This created a version of a protein that sits on the outer surface of the bacteria. We wouldn't have known what that does, except all the gonorrhea collected from the 2019 Michigan disseminated gonococcal patients were from this family, meaning this mutation enables the gonorrhea to spread all over the body, causing septic arthritis in JW's case and meningitis in Casey's case. 2 years after the cluster report, this mutated gonorrhea was still circulating around in southwest Michigan, and it was what had infected both patients. Back in the hospital, one of the antibiotics that Casey was started on before doctors had figured out...
Did you guys know? I heard this from like a story or something. Let me know your thoughts. But apparently, it was in a conversation of why the arts or like fine arts and like things like things that you'd see like ballerina stuff or dancing, etc., like fine arts. You know what I mean? And the reason why somebody's take was this. The reason why it died out was because of the AIDS epidemic, and a lot of them were LGBT or gay or etc., etc. So like a lot of them who were the best were actually sexually active and etc., etc. And the reason why you see the fine arts being dead or also, like slowly die out is because the best died out. Isn't that interesting? I've never thought about it like that. I've genuinely that whole video gave me a new perspective. I was like, wow, I never thought about it like that. And they were like, okay, so people who were the best of the best unfortunately died out. And I was like, oh shit. And I personally thought it was just like a society change or whatever. And that's what Timothy Chalamet said. Yeah, no, I think that's what started the conversation, wasn't it? Because he thought that like, he called it like a dying art or something like that.
What her infection was.
Kind of like Freddie Mercury.
Luckily, was the one that works on Neisseria gonorrhoeae. Other medicines were stopped. She was continued on this ceftriaxone. Over days, her condition started improving. Scientists have had more time to investigate this particular gonorrhea strain since the 2019 Southwest Michigan cluster. Since 2023, gonorrhea cases
it's been going down though.
Have decreased in the state, and good news
Sebastian,
is that it appears that this strain hasn't been in circulation since then. Recent studies have found that the particular mutation that it featured conferred a 20 times greater risk of disseminated gonococcal infection than other known strains at the time, meaning something about it caused the bacteria to break out from the infection site and float around in the body. And this is what happened to KC. The nature of the contact she had with her boyfriend after he contracted gonorrhea from an encounter outside of their relationship explains it. The oral cavity and its physical connection to the sinonasal cavity has proximity
wire
to the meninges and the brain. And coupled with the fact that the transmitted gonorrhea strain has a mutation that enables it to traverse in and out of human cells to infect all kinds of tissue, it means that Casey may have gotten the gonococcal meningitis through an unfortunate series of events. Interestingly, her boyfriend didn't appear to have a disseminated gonococcal infection despite Casey getting it, although he may have gotten treatment earlier because the symptoms do show up quicker and more commonly in men. There was one final...
Why is it so common for men, but it's like hidden for women? I know they mentioned it before, but they never explained why. Did they?
Observation that was noted in the 2019 Southwest Michigan cluster. The poor B1A allele that allowed it to break out and infect the whole body did not enable antibiotic resistance. So for now, this mutation by itself is a survival dead end. It's currently unclear if the poor B1A mutation forces the bacteria to be ceftriaxone susceptible, or if it's only a matter of time for gonorrhea to evolve ceftriaxone.
I personally think it's probably because like research does favor men. If PCOS was a men issue, I feel like we'd have a solution to it already.
Resistance with the enhanced ability to disseminate into the human body, creating a real multi-drug resistant super gonorrhea. But at least for now, we still have some time to find the next antibiotic for Neisseria gonorrhoeae strains that will emerge in the future. After the right antibiotic treatment, discovered by a diligent resident who paid attention to recent cases that he had seen, KC was able to make a full recovery.
Whoo! Damn. One person's thing. That's so scary. They said the symptoms just don't show up for women. It's not related for a long time.
Thanks so much for watching.
I don't know.
Take care of yourself and be well.
Damn. Hi, Lucy. My name is Clap Cheeks. To meet you. When I heard boyfriend clap cheeks, I had to pause the video and was like, hold up. Bro. Jesus Christ.